let's get into this, Rob. All right, so the story of the day, Simone Biles pulled out of the women's gymnastics team final at the Olympics today. She had competed, in her first rotation, didn't look good, landed awkwardly, kind of slipped. Was expected to compete in the uneven bars, but didn't. And then left the floor and, just was not able to return, and was not a physical issue. They called it a medical issue, but she spoke afterwards and basically said she just wasn't ready. It was about her mental health. Here she goes.
It's been really stressful, this Olympic Games. I think just as a whole, not having an audience, there are a lot of different variables going into it. It's been a long week. It's been a long Olympic process. It's been a long year. So just a lot of different variables, and I think we're just a little bit too stressed out, but we should be out here having fun, and sometimes that's not the case. Today has been really stressful. We had a workout this morning. It went okay, and then just that 5.5 hour wait or something, I was just like shaking, could barely nap. I've just never felt like this going into a competition before, and I tried to go out here and have fun and warm up in the back, went a little bit better, but then once I came out here, I was like, no, mental is not there, so I just need to let the girls do it and focus on myself.
All right, Rob, let me say this before we get into this. In my book, which, my book on gymnastics is not very extensive, I'll admit, all right? But in my book, she's the GOAT, all right? I mean, just all the numbers show that, and just her accomplishments, her gold medals, her total medals. I mean, she's incredible. She's the GOAT. But this is odd. If you listen to her, it just sounds like she was stressed. Like the pressure, was getting to her. And she just didn't feel like competing, and she pulled out. And I feel like I don't want to kill her. Nobody wants to kill her. But I do feel like if we're going to start accepting this, it just changes everything in sports. And also now, look, if she were a man, would she be being viewed differently? I mean, we've all grown up. Let's just keep it real, Rob. We've grown up treating women and girls differently. I raised girls. I would have raised my boys. If I had boys, I would have raised them differently. I'd have been harder on them. I mean, I've let it be known. I believe in spanking. I spanked my girls when they were little. It didn't take but like once, really. And then I didn't get no trouble from them. I got spanked a ton when I was a kid.
You were a bad kid.
98% of my spankings were for fighting with my brother, who I love, and we were good friends, but we fought all the time. But it was fine. I don't have a problem with that. And I'm old school, and these are new school ways. We're gonna get all into this, but I want to let you weigh in. What are your thoughts on this? Are you kind of as this is odd?
I'm going to say this. I'm not inside her head. I'm not going to speak for her. If she says she's stressed, I just have to take that as face value. You know what I mean?
I do believe she's stressed.
And which is fine. And I get it, Chris, and it's different, and people express. I just think everybody's stressed. Have you ever?
Well, I
just think that's a part of life. It is. Chris, you've been there. I've been there. I'm not saying it's the same thing as competing in the Olympics or trying to trivialize what she's gone through. But Chris, didn't you have to write a story for the New York Times where you had 10 minutes for deadline and you couldn't miss it, and you sat there?
You know what this was like,
okay?
Right? We're writing a story during the game.
Right.
During the game. And you got to send it right as soon as the game's over. You got to send
10 minutes later.
To 1,000 word story as soon as the game. Rob, we've been there at NBA Finals writing 2 separate leads.
Right. And this is my point.
In case which team wins.
Right.
You don't know who's going to win.
And the stress.
And you know this quickly because you know this. There were guys that froze.
Right. Yep.
There were guys that froze at the Final Four or the Big East Championship or an NBA Finals and couldn't do it. And it's just like, okay, you're not cut out for this. That's all I'm saying. Stress
and
pressure is a part of life.
And that's my point, is that we all face pressure every day in different doses. And I'm not saying that Chris, us writing a 600-word story is the same as competing in the Olympics, but it's our job. Our neck's on the line. Chris, how many times they're going to let you cover the NBA Finals if you miss deadline and miss 500,000 papers? How many times?
Right.
They'll say, Chris can't do it. Chris can't be a deadline writer.
Send him back
Chris
to high
needs to
school.
write. Exactly. Where they play during the day.
Do features or something, right?
Yes. Chris can't do it. Dude, people don't understand. So we all face pressure, but I got to admit, this stuff is going on more and more and more, where I'm almost be feeling detached from it, because I know it's a different day and people like to express themselves and tell you everything that's going on. But I can't imagine that there weren't other people prior to this who had the same stressful feelings.
Right.
Who just decided, like, I'm just going to go out and do what I got to do. And if it doesn't work out, Chris, it doesn't work out. And I'm not going to stand up there and give everybody a song and a dance and tell everybody why I failed. I just couldn't. It didn't happen today. You know what I mean? I tried my best and it didn't happen. And that's where you leave it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't want to feel like, am I being like,
no, you're not being the bad guy, because everybody's thinking the same thing. A lot of people are afraid to say it.
Right. That's just how I feel.
And again, nobody wants to come down on Simone Biles. And she's definitely stressed. I mean, she admitted she was a victim of Larry Nassar and the sexual assault. That's just come to light
at Michigan State,
in her head within a few years.
Right.
Yeah, the past few years. And I mean, so I'm not denying that she's stressed and just the pressure of everything being thrown at her. But to your point, Rob, every Olympic athlete before her and now is feeling pressure. Pressure is a part of sports. It's a part of everything. Like you said, it's a part of every job, particularly high pressure, high profile jobs. But every athlete that's part of it, Rob. Can you perform under pressure? I saw a video today of Ben Simmons shooting jumpers like he was Kevin Durant in a scrimmage against, I don't know who in the world he was playing against, but it was some open gym. But can he do it in an NBA game? The difference is pressure. And we've always celebrated athletes for handling pressure. And I heard someone say today, and a lot of people have said, well, what if Tom Brady just basically said the same thing as Simone Biles before the Super Bowl and pulled out? Or LeBron James said the same thing before the finals and pulled out. What would it look like?
And we talk about, like, think about T.O. going out there injured, Chris, and playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Get your popcorn ready.
On
you know
a
what I
broken
mean?
leg. Yep.
With a broken leg out there. And I'm just going to suck it up. It's a Super Bowl. It's the only chance this might be, and it wound up being the only chance, right?
LeBron, look at LeBron, and we all know 2011, he melted down, right? Against the Dallas Mavericks. But he went out there. And then afterwards, he has to sit in the press conference and answer questions about it. LeBron, why didn't you post up J.J. Barea? He has to answer questions about it. The best player in the world has to stand there and do that. That's been a part, and we're going to keep going on this because this is just a big topic. Is this a sea change in how we're going to view athletes? We've always looked to you. We've put them on a pedestal, Rob, because of their physical greatness, but also because of their mental greatness.
Chris, do you remember the Jay Cutler playoff game in Chicago where he came out of the game? Do you remember that playoff game? I think that was against the Packers. Don't you remember?
Had the knee injury.
And they shredded him. Do you remember that? People sat at home and absolutely shredded him for not going out there to compete when he was injured. And yes, he had an injury and wound up having surgery, but people were playing like they knew what was going on, and he got killed. Do you remember, right?
They
Absolutely
shredded
killed.
Ben Simmons a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Now, what if Ben Simmons before game 4 against Atlanta had come out and said, mentally, I'm just not there. I need to take a break. I need to protect my mental health. I think in many quarters, he would have been celebrated. But he goes out and tries to push through it, and he does push through it and fails. He shrinks under the pressure. That's just all there was to it, and he got killed. So, like I said, I want to continue talking about this, Rob, and we're going to give you guys a chance, the callers as well, but we're going to try to get out some of our thoughts, and we're just having a discussion. We're not, coming down on anybody.
We're not condemning anybody.
Right.
If she says she's stressed, Chris, I have no idea of knowing. I'm going to take her word at face value. I'm going to.
And for me, Rob, it's not like I completely believe she's stressed. Right. My thing is all athletes are stressed. You don't think the dudes on Team USA basketball right now are stressed? Because they're getting embarrassed in front of the whole world. You don't think the track athletes who have one shot in the 100 meters or the 400, whatever, are stressed? So to me, it's not, is she stressed? Oh, I fully believe she's stressed. But
no, the only reason I say that,
only reason
I say that is because
explanation, excuse, whatever.
Do you know what I mean? Like
she wasn't able to perform to her best of her ability.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying, if she would have won, Chris, you know what I mean, and then said I can't do it, then maybe it would feel a little different. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, she would have. Yeah, it would have felt differently.
It would have felt totally different.
So you're saying you're open to it potentially just being an excuse.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you're winning and you say I can't go on, or then I've got to buy into it. You were playing well enough to win. In her case, she didn't perform as well as she normally does.
No, that's a fair.
That's all I'm saying.
Right. You're right. It came after she was struggling.
Exactly.
All right, we're gonna keep talking about this. Like we said, as we go on, you guys will get a chance to weigh in because she referenced Rob G. I don't know if I can find it, but she referenced Twitter, right? She said that a couple people. I'm trying to find it. Let me know if you find the quote. A couple people say something on Twitter, and it feels like I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders. Find that quote for me, Rob G. Because, as I brought up before we went to the break, Rob, social media is a big part of this. It's been proven. There have been studies to show that social media does increase anxiety and depression. Remember when a few years ago, Instagram they did something with the likes so that people wouldn't compare.
Right. They stopped doing it. Right. I remember that.
Right. They wouldn't compare as much how many likes so-and-so has compared to yourself because they thought that added to the anxiety. Of course, that doesn't stop the anxiety, just taking the likes off. But I think that's an issue. I don't believe, Rob, human beings are built for excessive praise, like over doses of praise or criticism. And I think that's what you get a lot of times on social media. Is huge amounts of criticism and sometimes huge amounts of praise. More so criticism, I'd say, but you get the praise in other ways. And so I think that adds to this too. And Simone Biles is active. She's tweeted more than LeBron James, who's active on Instagram, or she's put out more Instagram posts. So that could be, a part of this as well. Rob G, you got that quote on the what she said about Twitter?
Well, the closest quote I could find is based on her Instagram post from earlier this week, where she said it wasn't an easy day or my best day. She was talking about her initial struggles on the routine that you talked about earlier. But I got through it. I truly do feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders at times. I know I brush it off, make it seem like pressure doesn't affect me, but damn, sometimes it's hard. Ha ha ha. The Olympics is no joke, but I'm happy my family was able to be with me virtually because they mean the world to me.
Yeah, it's so, it's just the pressure. And I agree. I mean, the Olympic athletes are under incredible pressure because they train for 4 years they got one shot. And if they don't make it happen, they blew it. So I get that pressure. But that's been a part of sports forever. Not just Olympic athletes. Our professional athletes are under incredible pressure.
And I get it every 4 years, Chris, but how about being in the big leagues and having to try to get 3 hits every 10 at-bats, facing guys throwing 100 miles an hour, stadiums where they're booing the hell out of you and calling you all kinds of names on social media because you make a lot of money. I mean, you don't think those guys, I'm just saying, who go out, baseball players who play every single night, every night for 6 months.
It's what we're saying is it's a part of sports at the highest level.
Right.
It's even a part at the lower levels. I mean, not to the same degree, but pressure comes with sports. Even at the high school level, the pressure of making the team. Fear, the pain, the anguish you feel if you're cut. I mean,
don't open up my wounds, okay? Please don't open my wounds.
But my point, are we going to start looking at athletes differently? Should we? I don't know. But we've seen, Kyrie Irving took off 3 weeks, I believe it was, last season for essentially, I guess, what we could call mental health. We didn't really get specifics on it.
Yeah, I don't remember them saying that, but
they said family issues, but nobody really knows what was going on. But Kyrie talked about mental health a lot. And I think there are huge, serious mental health issues. I don't think feeling pressure to perform in an athletic contest necessarily qualifies, because I think you feel that all the time. That's a part. How many boxers have you heard? Even Mike Tyson. I walk into the ring, I'm scared. Every fight, I'm scared. I got butterflies, right?
No matter what. Right. He's knocked everybody out during his day, and still, because that's a part of it. You know that, right, Chris, right? That's a part of you never feel like you've mastered it. Like, you know what I mean? And nobody, I don't care how long you play, what game you're in, what circumstance you're standing at the free throw line, you need to make 2 to win the game. Don't tell me you're not stressed.
Yes.
Right? If I was up there, I would have a pimple breakout on my forehead. Do you know what I mean? Like, from the stress.
No, it's a part of sports. And like we said, that's part of why these guys are viewed as heroes, because they can perform under the pressure. And Rob, don't even make us start talking about Jackie Robinson or Bill Russell.
Jackie Robinson, imagine traveling around, you're not knowing, Chris, whether or not someone's going to shoot you from the stands.
Yes.
Your own teammates don't want to shower with you, don't want you there. Fans are yelling the worst things in the world. If you ever saw that movie 42, I was so hurt by watching those scenes because that's in a movie, Chris. You know what the real life was, right?
Right. Was
10
even
times
worse.
worse.
Absolutely.
10 times
Absolutely.
worse.